Hello.
Hello.
My first question is what was your first memory with the fantasy universe in movies or books?
I actually started fantasy early in America with Wizard of Oz was my first love. And I actually didn't want to be Dorothy. I wanted to be the wizard. So that was my first love. And then at a very early age, I started reading Tolkien.
Yeah.
And I read epic fantasy before I ever started writing romance, actually. So I've been in love with fantasy probably from as long as I can remember.
Okay, nice. Every one of your book is dedicated to different couples.
Yes.
How came the idea to work on different male characters, such as Vikings, Spanish, and so on?
I at the time, the urban fantasy had just started with one female character going through all, but my attention span is very short. So once the couples get together, I'm ready to move on to a new couple. So I like the unfolding romance, the relationship. And so I did an overall storyline, but I like the idea of the couples, the romance changing because, like I said, with one character, keeping the romance going for so many books is very, very hard. So I like the different couples.
Okay. Some of your women are werewolves or demons. Is that the solution to make the love story last longer?
Yes, yes. And that is something you have to consider when you put females with immortal characters. No one wants to think that you're going to be getting older with a lovely, yummy vampire who's going to stay the same. Because in your head you're thinking, oh, he's never staying with her. So you need to find a way to make her immortal as well. I like the ordinary. The human character that gets pushed into this extraordinary world. I love that concept, but at some point you have to think of a way to make her at least long-lived.
Okay. Levet is quite an interesting character. It brings a lot of humor in the book. And how did you come with the idea to make a very small gargoyle such an important character?
Yeah, actually, I visited Paris 10 years ago, and I got the idea of a gargoyle being a fantastic character, but he didn't seem very romantic to me, unless he shifted into something a little more romantic. But I love the idea of a gargoyle, and the vampires are so full of themselves. I wanted someone who could, bring them back down to size. So he's actually kind of a combination of Cary Grant and Pepe Le Pew. I kind of, squished them into a little gargoyle, and he was only intended to be in Viper's book, but I fell in love with him. And he says all the things we want to say, but we never think of at the time. So when I'm upstairs writing, every once in a while I start giggling because I just thought of a line for Levette. So he keeps me entertained, and so I hope the readers enjoy him, but he's in my books because I fell in love with them.
Okay, one more thing about Levet. He's French, he's grumpy, he's not very honest, despite of his big heart. Is that your version of the French?
No, that was just the gargoyle in him. And my idea of the French was that he was very good with the ladies. So that was my idea of the Frenchman, was that he could charm the ladies. And then, of course, all the arrogant men found him very obnoxious because he was so charming.
Do you already know how many books will there be in saga?
The next book, Cain, there is a little mini conclusion to the overall story arc with the Dark Lord, but I have 3 more at least planned. And I would like to do a spin-off in the same world, but start with new characters. I have such a large cast now. It's very difficult to get everyone into the book. So I would like to do a spin-off, and my thought is maybe even I have a dragon character that shows up in a future book very small part, but he would be an interesting new way to start off a spin-off. So that's kind of stewing in the back of my mind.
Okay. Do you have a message for the French reader?
I have been overjoyed by how wonderful they have been. Not only just to read the books, but they come to my Facebook page and I get to chat with them. And I never know how my humor translates into another language. So I've been very pleased that they've enjoyed the books and that they've been so unbelievably loyal to this, to go from one book to another book. So, and like I said, just very kind. And since I've been here, it has been a joy to meet them.